Hey everyone, happy Friday from myself, Robert Ferringo, and my main man, Raphael Esparza. We are two of the top handicappers at Doc Sports Services, the number one sports handicapping site, business, team, collective, whatever you want to call us. We're the best in the business. Okay. If you don't believe us, go over to docsports.com. Click on the link down below in the description and use $60 free towards any package for any handicapper in any sport that you want this weekend. But Raphael, let's be honest, everybody wants football picks these days, particularly NFL football picks. And we got another good weekend. All right, we're only through. I know you hate the NFL. Two things you hate in football are the SEC and the NFL. The two things that everybody else loves.
Pretty good. It's pretty right. You're correct.
Pretty much straight away though. I got to ask you: do you hate something else that everybody else seems to love right now? And that's the Buffalo Bills. Everyone in the country is on the bandwagon, and why not? Two games, two dominant efforts, both in prime time. This Sunday, though, they're going down to South Beach to take on the division rival Miami Dolphins off a miracle win of Monday in Baltimore. Raphael, what do you make of the Bills? What do you make of this number and this matchup?
I don't hate the Bills. Many moons ago, before the Cubs won their World Series, and I cried, and I can still cry right now just thinking about it. I said two teams I wanted to see win a championship before I died was my beloved Chicago Cubs and the Buffalo Bills, because what they had to deal with back in the day of losing all those championships and Kelly, and it saddens me. So I love Bills Mafia. I mean, their fan base is fantastic. They're entertaining. Follow any of them on social media. It's just a great laugh. So I'm high on Bills. I just don't see anyone touching them right now. I mean, they're not going 17-0. They're not going to be perfect to win the Super Bowl. They'll have a hiccup here. Could this be their hiccup going to a very sunny Miami to play a Miami not only that has a good defense, but has a really good high-power offense as well that has two wide receivers to run like cheetahs out there that's going to be hard to control. This one's a nail-biter. The only thing that scares me, there is some rain. I don't know if it's going to be from the hurricane that's maybe approaching or something like that. We could have some weather involved on this one. If there is weather involved, that actually helps Buffalo more than I think that helps Miami. So this one's going to be very interesting. I think Miami covers this game, but the way I've seen Buffalo play the last two games, I wouldn't want to bet against them. They just looked really good.
How much do you factor in recent matchups between these two teams? Because if you're looking at the numbers, Buffalo has absolutely dominated. I mean, dominated Miami over the last 4 years. They've won 7 straight over the Dolphins by an average of 19 points per game. Their last 5 wins have come by a total of 100 points, so an average of 20 points per game. And last year, beat them by 15, beat them by 35. Year before that, beat them by 30. They had 1 3-point win in there, but then 17, 10, and 25 points are the other margins of victory. This is a different team, different Miami team, got some new pieces. Tua's looked good. How much, when you're handicapping, do you look at a recent run like that?
I don't, just because it's a totally different Miami team. I mean, so it's not like it's the same team played last week or the last game of the season of last year, and same pieces, same quarterbacks. This is a totally different Buffalo team even from last year. Their defense is so much improved. Von Miller is just a huge improvement from what they've had last year. Their secondary is healthier than what they were last year. I think Buffalo Bills offense is a little bit more controlled than it was last year. I can't look at those past 4 years because both teams are different, even though the people might be the same on the jersey names. But I think just the way they set up is totally different. I won't look at that because, again, I've really been impressed. That win against Baltimore, where most teams would just say, hey, you know what, we're getting crushed by the Ravens on the road. Let's just not get hurt, go away and concentrate on next Sunday's game. But how they fought back and won that game, that puts a lot of confidence in that locker room. That's going to be that could carry them to, again, winning at home on this one and beating Buffalo. But again, it's just so hard. This Buffalo team reminds me of the younger Tom Brady in New England coming off Super Bowl wins, and how people were they were just dominating them, and we couldn't beg for the opposite side of money. If the Buffalo keeps on playing on this, every time they win and cover, the books are going to get crushed because they're going to be keyed on parlays, teasers, round robins, money line parlays. This is going to be a team that the sports books can't wait for them to get the L at the ATS.
They very well may win, may have another blowout this week, but I got to give a shout out to Cody, a copy editor at the Watertown Daily Times, where I used to work about 20 years ago. He had a saying that I have adopted because it's proven accurate. Win on Monday, lose on Sunday. You got to be wary of the letdown situation for Buffalo. They've had two very emotional, high-profile, nationally televised games. There could be ripe for a little letdown this Sunday. I'm actually looking at the under in that game because I like how both of these defenses are playing. I know Miami gave up a lot of points last week to Baltimore. I get that, but they got a lot of talent on and a lot of speed on that defense. I think they can give the Bills a little bit of problems. All right, next we're going to shift our focus to a team that played on Monday Night Football that did not play very well, unlike the Buffalo Bills. That's Minnesota. They got freight trained by Philadelphia. A little tip of the our good friend Jason Sharp, whose 8-unit NFL Game of the Year was won with Philadelphia in that route on Monday Night Football. Vikings licking their wounds a little bit, hosting the Detroit Lions. Everybody's little underdog darling, the little team that could, right? Coming off their first win of the season. But Detroit is a 6-point underdog. They've been really good in this underdog role under Dan Campbell. And again, Raphael, tough to tell where Minnesota's head is at right now. They have the good win over Green Bay, then the terrible loss just because they played so poorly against Philadelphia. What are you looking at with this matchup?
I was really hoping to get the Lions plus a touchdown on this one, but it's already been down to 6 because I know Detroit has, they're the nice talk about story on HBO. They've covered both their games. They've covered 8 out of their last 10 going into last year as well. So they've been covering machines, but I think Minnesota bounces back. Last time I checked, this game was played on Sunday, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And we all know what Kirk Cousins does on Monday, right?
That is correct.
So I think the Vikings bounce back on this one, but I'm going to say the Lions still do the backdoor cover. I have the Vikings winning by 5 points or less in this game. I just think I was really impressed again with Detroit. Granted, they lost to the Eagles, but how they played in the fourth quarter, that was so impressive that they kept on fighting. It's almost like they knew the number was, and they were trying to cover that number because you can bet on sports in Detroit. Maybe they knew something there. Who knows? But I love the way the Lions just keep on fighting. They're a fun team to watch. I can't believe I'm going to say that. They're a very fun team to watch because when was the last time you can say, A, the Lions were a fun team to watch, and B, you're excited to watch Thanksgiving football if the Lions the first game. Normally, maybe I'll sleep in a little. I don't need to watch the Lions game on Thanksgiving.
This is our second Friday Football Betting Bonanza video. If you haven't watched our college football video, be sure to check that one out as well. And you're just checking off all the boxes, Raphael. In that video, it was you complaining about the SEC, and I said, what's the point of having a YouTube channel and YouTube video if you can't complain about things? Today in this NFL Friday Football Betting, the conspiracy theories, spreading conspiracy theories, that's the only other reason to have a YouTube channel, right? Is to go on and spread conspiracy theories. So, all right, key stand.
The NFL is fixed.
That Detroit Minnesota game is the Vikings are actually 45-20 against the spread after a loss. They have been a very, very good bounce back team over the last few years. So, all right, we talked about Buffalo and Miami and the way that the Bills have absolutely dominated Miami in recent years. Same thing in our next game. The Rams are going to Arizona, and the Rams have just freight trained the Cardinals in the last few years. They're 10-1 against the spread in their last 11. They've covered 7 straight in Arizona. The favorites 10-2 against the spread in the last 12 meetings, and the road team is 12-4 against the spread. Raphael, is there any earthly reason that we should have our money on Arizona or expect anything from them here?
There's always one or two NFL games that that has the word trap. Not even next to the bet number. It just says bet number, trap, then the team that they're playing. And that's what's on here. I just want to ask the wife for an extra money on my allowance because I like the Rams in this spot. But I didn't think Arizona was going to come back and win that game last week. And they did. I know, granted, it was against the Raiders, but this Rams team, they're still going to put up points. They put up 31 against Atlanta. This Atlanta team is not that bad of a team as I thought they were going to be. You're probably agreeing with that since they're in your backyard. But I'm just not sold yet on Arizona. They still need to prove to me that they can win some big games. I don't see them. But again, this is the word trap to me. Push this one aside, watch it, because I'm expecting the Rams to win by 10 points. but it would not shock me if the little midget quarterback in Arizona is running around like I'm watching a video game and he puts a touchdown in and they win by 2.
Yeah, you know me. I've been selling my Arizona stock all summer. I don't like this team. I don't like their vibe. I don't like Cliff Kingsbury. Not a huge Kyler Murray guy. The talent's there, sure, but the production has not been. Look, the Rams own them. Sean McVay is just a better coach than Cliff Kingsbury. I think that the Rams, for whatever reason, play better on the road. They have been a better team to bet on the road than they have been at home, and they've been great in this situation as kind of a small road favorite. So I'm definitely looking at that Los Angeles side. They still have more talent, still have more experience, better coach. As long as Matt Stafford, I mean, if he can stop turning the ball over, I think he has 5 interceptions already in 2 games. Like, Detroit Matt Stafford is popping his head up here. As long as he can limit his turnovers in Arizona, I think the Rams are going to extend their run of dominance over the Cardinals. So, all right, save the best for last.
Stafford needs to send thank you cards to Jameis and to Burrow, because if it wasn't for them two stinking it up, he would be getting a lot of negative press with all his interceptions he's been throwing.
Yeah, he hasn't been very good, frankly. And
nope.
I think he got a little too much credit for their Super Bowl win last year, and that's kind of bought him this honeymoon period in Los Angeles. But this is the guy that we saw in Detroit. Okay, he's the type of guy who keeps both teams in the game every game. All right, so the big game of the week, we have Green Bay heading down to Tampa Bay, 4:00 primetime spot. Raphael, I know you don't usually like betting or releasing plays on these high-profile matchups here, but is it me or is there a little bit of value with Tampa Bay in this one?
There is. I thought there was a little bit of value with Green Bay when this number first opened up +3, because again, I'm still not sold on that wide receiver crew that Tampa Tom's going to have to. Now I'm really not sold with now Evans being suspended with the MMA fight that he had last week. I still kind of lean towards Green Bay in this one. Granted, I know it's in Tampa. I know it's Tampa Tom, and he'll find someone to throw the ball to and make a name for that person on a Monday for an ESPN, but I think if Green Bay can run the ball like they did last week against the Bears, granted it was against the Bears, I think that's going to improve their wide receivers, because every time they run the ball successful, it puts less pressure on those young wide receivers that he has. So I'm leaning towards Green Bay, but there's no more value for me to go, I'm going to jump on Green Bay. There's not 3, it's not even 2 or 2.5, it's 1 now. So if I was going to look to bet this, I'll see how low. Maybe if I can get Tampa Bay at maybe pick them before kickoff. It's a late start. Was it the CBS game? On Sunday, the late one. So I want to wait to see if there's any more, because I think there was 1 pick. I think it was at Circa before we jumped on the air on this one. If I can get Tampa Tom at Pick'em, maybe I'll take a shot at that one, because there's no value for me if I wanted to bet on Green Bay, that rushing attack, and maybe a wide receiver makes a name for himself and not drop a pass.
I love Tampa Bay in this spot. In fact, this is my free play. We'll get to yours in a minute, but my free play I definitely like Tampa Bay. I don't understand why this line is less than a field goal. They have a nice home field advantage. They've been great at home with Tom Brady there. All the talk is on Brady and Rodgers, but the name of the game for both of these teams is defense. These are 2 top 10 defenses, right? Tampa Bay has been great in its first 2 games defensively. I think they're going to bring that same intensity to this game against the Packers, and Green Bay's offense is still figuring some things out. I don't trust their receiving core. I definitely trust Tampa Bay's receiving core. I know they're a little bit banged up, but they added Cole Beasley. I think he's going to have an instant impact. I think Scotty Miller's going to bounce back from a tough game last week. We've seen it before from these guys in Tampa Bay's receiver room, right? We've seen them have big games and make big plays. We haven't seen that from Green Bay, from any of the idiots that they're trotting out there in the wide receiver room. And we know what Aaron Rodgers is going to do when things aren't going his way in this game, and Tampa Bay's defense is shutting him down. He's going to start pouting. He's going to start blaming his teammates, rolling his eyes, making faces, okay, versus Tom Brady, who's going to be over there leading his team and trying to overcome some of this adversity. Tampa Bay's offense hasn't looked good, but same thing. They've played 2 pretty good defenses, Raphael, and they've done it on the road. Going into Dallas, going into New Orleans, 2 tough places to play, and they got double-digit wins both times. They weren't very aesthetically pleasing, but road wins against above average teams in the NFL are not as easy to come by. So I think there's a lot of disrespect on the line in this one. I think Tampa Bay is absolutely the way to go. So that is my take, and that is my free play. Raphael, give the people what they want. Give them a free NFL winner.
I agree on some of your takes on Tampa Bay, but again, I have a huge bet on Tampa Bay under 11.5 total season wins. So I would love to see Green Bay steal this one, and I can laugh at that one. But this one was hard for me to pick a free play. I will love to see Baker outduel Jameis, and so I can watch the Saints hit the panic button after that game. Panic, 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 because I would love to take the Carolina. If you are going to take Carolina, make sure you get the +3. There's 3s and 2.5s out there. Line shop, have multiple shops. Try not to just get one book. You get the best number. If not, give me Geno Smith back at home. I don't know why all this money came in on Atlanta. I'm not sold on Atlanta. I still think they're going to be one of the worst teams in the league when all is said and done. I think the cleaning ladies in Robert's room right now, I can see the reflection on the TV. But give me Geno Smith at home to take Atlanta Falcons. I'm not sold on Atlanta. Give me Geno.
All right, folks, he's Raphael Esparza. I am Robert Ferringo. That is your Friday football betting bonanza. Be sure to go to docsports.com for all of your sports betting needs, including, again, another weekend of big-time football winners. We will be back next week. Until then, carpe diem, and good luck.